I was on Guns and Gadgets live stream for probably 5 hours today. Today's the 29th, I think, something like that. Just watching for hours the Democrats just chipping away at our rights. They voted to, I guess, end the 24-hour rule, which gives, people 24 hours to, I guess, like, go over the bill and everything and come up with an argument for or against it or whatever. Literally just watched them destroy that. And then not too long later, I think they discussed a fire and water bill. And then they went into 1808. They are just destroying this country. It's insane. It really is. And listening to them argue over 1808, why these weapons should be banned, guys, it made my blood boil. It was literally really hard to listen to it. And, in typical Democratic form, the liberals were on there with their bleeding hearts trying to convince everybody with their emotions, saying how assault weapons are bad, they kill people, and they're designed to kill people in the most efficient way and quickest way possible, and they're weapons of war, and all that's kind of bullshit. Excuse my language, this topic pisses me off. Of course, it passed through them, and now it's got to go to the Senate. I'm hoping it doesn't pass through the Senate, but it's a possibility. If it does, then I almost guarantee it's going to go to the Supreme Court. And the way the Supreme Court's been acting lately, there's no doubt in my mind the Supreme Court will shoot this down in a heartbeat. Guys, this is very unconstitutional, and they want to ban some of the logic. If you didn't have to sit through 5 hours of this video of them just taking a massive shit on the Second Amendment, because that's what they were doing, and they're claiming, oh, we're not taking away anybody's rights because they're going to be grandfathered in, and that's all fine and dandy for me, who already owns stuff. They're at the bottom of the lake in the middle of New Mexico, but that's all fine and dandy for anyone who owns anything right now. We already have them. That's okay for us, but it's gonna ban the sale of these things and transfer and all this horse shit. It's taking away what our rights are right now. It's taking away from the next generation. They're not going to have the same rights that we do. The next generation is not going to be as free as we are. And these liberals are just, they get a freaking hard-on over banning guns. What really makes me pissed off is on this. There was some of them that were like, I grew up in a rural town in Texas on a farm, and I own firearms, and AR-15s aren't made to hunt. This and that. Well, guess what, bitch? The Second Amendment wasn't made for hunting. It was made to stop tyrannical people like you. Want to put it blunt, that's what the Second Amendment's there for. It's there to prevent arguments that we're having right now. We shouldn't be having these arguments. We should not be having these arguments. This bill is the definition of unconstitutional. although it might not be fully implemented, these people voting on this are voting against you. Okay? These people are literally voting against you. They're voting against America. Angry shifts. Sorry, transmission. Gotta love an old 90s Blazer. They are fun, that's for sure. The only thing about this thing is it doesn't really bother me is it doesn't have a tachometer. And it's a 5-speed, 6-speed standard, I guess 6-speed with reverse, I guess. It doesn't bother me that it doesn't have a tachometer. But for anybody that doesn't know really standard vehicles, I guess this wouldn't be the greatest first one, because you gotta go by the sound of the engine and the feel of the car. You know, maybe that's what we should go back to. We should go back to a time where the cars were standard and guns were loved. This is a prepping channel for the most part. But you know what? Having guns is part of prepping. Knowing your firearms rights is part of prepping. So that's why I'm talking about this. Is this HR 1808? Hitler recommends 1808 because he would. Come on, people. You would walk in the middle of the road, wouldn't y'all? Okay, y'all, I'm gonna go into what Prepper Nation calls China Mart, so I can get more more rice, some rice noodles, stuff like that. Okay, so there's a few things that I wanted to get off my chest on that last part of the video, or the first part of the video, and that's that their liberal logic is so screwed up. Okay, I'm not saying I'm for banning anything. Let me get that out of the way. I'm 110% against banning any kind of weapons. We have that right to own firearms. And to hear a lot of the Republicans saying shall not be infringed, and they are infringing very hard. Guys, they are very much infringing on the Second Amendment. Don't forget that. Don't let them say that they're not. Give me a second here. I'm coming up to Border Patrol checkpoints. Are they going to wave me on through? We shall see. Yep. There we go. Waved on through. Anyways. So they want to ban AKs and ARs and all AK variants, all AR variants. They want to ban all AK pistols, all AR pistols, any handgun that has an automatic version. So Glocks have an automatic version. So I don't know if they're going to want to ban all Glocks or what. But here's where the logic gets me, okay? They said they want to ban weapons of war. They call the AR-15 a weapon of war. They call it a weapon of war all the time. Guys, the AR-15 is not a weapon of war. Let me make that absolutely perfectly clear. The AR-15 AR does not stand for assault rifle like a lot of these libtards want to think. AR is Armalite rifle. Okay? I know I'm preaching to the choir. AK, yeah, okay. I will give them that. The AK is a weapon of war. The AK is used in war all the time. You know, it's used in war all day, every day. I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not agreeing that they should ban it, but I'm not going to argue the fact that it is a weapon of war. But the AR-15 is not a weapon of war. Okay, and now here is where things get really, really interesting, and that is the exemptions. And there's a good bit of exemptions. Lever action rifles, all those kind of things. You know, bolt actions. They're not trying to touch any of those. But specifically, SKS and an M1 Garand. Now, there's a lot more that are exempt, but let me just pick out those two, because I've owned both, and I own an SKS right now. M1 Garand, they have killed hundreds of thousands of people in war. SKS, probably millions of people in war, but they're exempt. This is what I'm getting at. The SKS and the M1 Garand are both legitimate weapons of war. And this was brought up, actually. This was brought up by a Republican on the argument on the floor. They're not banning those two. Those two are legitimate weapons of war, but the AR-15 is not. Okay? And now, I will be the first to admit, I am not a fan of the AR-15. It's just not my style. Okay? I'm an AK kind of person. I'm a Russian kind of person. I love my Russian guns. I love my commie guns. Because I'm Russian, okay? I have a Russian background. I have Russian heritage. So that's what I tend to go for. I have nothing against the ARs. If you want to own an AR, I will 100% support you, but I'm not a fan of it. But the AR-15 is not a weapon of war, okay? The AK, yeah, sure, it is. Should we ban it? No, because why? It's not a fully automatic. The fully automatic is not really available to the United States public. Should full autos be available to the public? Yeah, they should. Why? The Second Amendment says. Okay? The Second Amendment is very vague. And it's very vague for a reason. Okay? It's protecting all firearms, okay? And one of the liberals had the audacity to say, well, when the Founding Fathers made the Second Amendment, they didn't have these killing machines. They didn't know about what would come about with these killing machines. Bitch, they had machine guns back then, okay? They had machine guns. They had weapons that fired multiple rounds a minute. These people are so uneducated, but they don't care. They do not care. They are going to completely lie to the public because they don't care, guys. We need to contact anyone and everyone that we can, and we need to get these people out of office.